Grace in the glass prison. Once, far beneath the waves, a mermaid named Grace swam with quiet purpose. Her long tail shimmered like moonlight on water, and her blonde hair flowed like ink in the current. She hadn't ventured to the northern ridge of the sea in many tides, but something had called her back. A pull in her chest, a whisper through the reefs. Grace glided silently toward the cliffs of the secret cove, where sea foam kissed the rocks like ancient runes. It had once been sacred ground to her kind, a gathering place for mermaids of many realms. But as she rounded the reef, her heart froze. Boats? Not the small fishing ones she once knew, but sleek, ominous vessels with brass cranes, glass tanks, and gleaming floodlights aimed at the sea. She ducked beneath the surface and weaved through shadows, drawing close. What she saw made her blood run cold. Mermaids, of all colors and kinds. Some with coral-colored fins, others with translucent webbing, glimmering with stardust hues. All trapped. All terrified. Some lay motionless, sedated in giant glass tanks rimmed in polished brass, while others weakly pressed their hands against the curved walls, eyes wide and pleading. Rich men in dark coats and jeweled watches sipped champagne as they examined the exhibits. Traders barked prices. A man with a long silver net laughed as he told stories of how hard some had fought, and how easily others had been tricked by illusions of music and safety. Grace stayed hidden, rage pulsing through her veins. She memorized the positions of every tank, every guard, every boat. Her tail flicked once, then again, and she was gone. Not for long. She would return that night with allies from the deep. With kelp slingers from the sunken vale, current riders from the storm trench, and the whispering daughters of the moon pools. She would not let her sisters stay imprisoned, not when the sea was their birthright. Not while Grace still swam free. The Midnight Rebellion. The moon hung low and heavy over the water, casting silver streaks across the black surface like veins of power. Deep beneath the cove, Grace moved swiftly through ancient tunnels carved by forgotten tides. Her heart pounded, not with fear, but with purpose. She had called a secret council. Around her, a dozen mermaids emerged from the darkness. Fierce warriors and quiet mystics, each from a different sea. Coral-armored guardians from the deep blue trenches. Singing sisters from the moon pools. Even a shark-tailed scout from the tempest rim with glowing eyes and jagged teeth. Grace raised her hand, voice calm but resolute. "They've returned," she said. "The humans who trap and trade us like jewels." Gasps rippled through the gathering. "They keep our kin in glass prisons," Grace continued. "Displayed like art. Sold like beasts." No one spoke. They didn't need to. Their tails flicked in quiet anger, braids of hair tightened, hands gripped coral blades. A young mermaid stepped forward. "What is your plan?" Grace's eyes gleamed. "We strike tonight." She led them upward, past sunken statues and ancient bones. When they reached the surface near the cove, she signaled them to stay submerged and silent. The boats still bobbed lazily in the moonlight. Laughter drifted from above deck, which men unaware of the power stirring below. At Grace's signal, they attacked again. A shimmer in the water. A net exploded, shredded by sharpened pole. A guard screamed as water surged upward at the geezer, flinging him into the sea. From the waves came warriors, fast and furious, slashing ropes, cracking tanks, freeing sisters who gasped in fear and confusion. One by one, the captives slid into the water, rescued. Grace dug toward the largest tank, gold-rimmed and cruel, housing an elder mermaid with pearl-white eyes and a tail like moonstone. With a blast from a conch horn made of volcanic shell, the brass shattered, and water surged in, lifting the elder to freedom. On deck, chaos reigned. Goodbyes ran, their coats soaked, their pride shattered. Then, from the sky, thunder rumbled, not from storm clouds, but from the sea itself. A voice echoed in the cave, a deep, ancient cry. The ocean itself was waking. The boats, cracked and cursed, began to sink. One by one, the cove was entered of invaders. Grace watched as the final ship groaned and dipped beneath the waves, her people sank again. That night, they returned to the deep. No cheers were spoken. Only silent nods, soft embraces, and the return of stolen songs whispered beneath the sea. Grace swam last, eyes turned once more to the surface. Let them come again, she thought. The ocean remembers. The hidden tide. Grace swam faster than she had in years, weaving through seaweed tunnels and coral corridors, as she left the cursed cove behind. The ocean felt colder now, as if it too recoiled from the horrors lurking just miles away. She surfaced only once, under cover of clouds, to catch a breath and orient herself. Then, diving deep again, she followed the warm currents that would lead her to them, the hidden tide. The rebels had made their home in a long-forgotten trench, where volcanic vents glowed like underwater lanterns, and no human vessel dared to drift. It was there Grace found them, warrior mermaids with armor made of pearl and obsidian, their fins sharp, their eyes sharper. At their center stood Calyx, a deep-sea guardian with a scar across his chest from the last war with surface dwellers. "They've returned," Grace said, voice trembling with urgency. "They are trapping us again. Selling us like treasure." Calyx narrowed his glowing eyes. "How many?" "Too many," she whispered. "They have cages, reinforced glass and brass. Sirens, reef singers, even hatchlings." A low rumble passed through the trench, rage spreading like a pulse. Mermaids began gathering weapons, nets woven from jellyfish stingers, tridents carved from shipwrecks, and conch shell horns that echoed for miles. This was more than a rescue. It would be a reckoning. Calyx turned to Grace. "You'll lead us. You've seen the layout." Grace hesitated, then nodded. The fear in her heart was replaced by something fiercer. She had once been just a princess and now a queen, a singer of old sea songs. But tonight, she would become something more. A protector. A warrior. And maybe, just maybe, a savior of her kind. Chapter 4, The Moonlit Return. The hidden tide moved swiftly beneath the waves, their bodies slicing through the dark sea like silver arrows. Grace led them, her once flowing hair now tied back, her tail flashing like polished opal in the moonlight bleeding through the water's surface. With every beat of her heart, the memory of those mermaids trapped in the cove returned, their eyes pleading, their gills fluttering weakly in stolen water. When they neared the surface, the cove came into view, eerily still beneath the moon. The boats sat anchored, their hulls gleaming with cruel brass lights that stretched down into the sea like spears. But Grace knew better. She knew the monsters didn't always come with teeth and tentacles. Sometimes, they came with money, ships, and cages. She signaled with a low trill. The hidden tide scattered, each taking their position, some to slice open the tanks from below, others to disarm the men on board using songs that could lull even the angriest sailor into a trance. Grace swam for the main vessel, the gilded catch, where she had seen the most prisoners. As she approached, she saw her chance. A ladder dropped overboard, likely for maintenance. She climbed it halfway and peered through a porthole. Inside, behind thick glass, were 5 mermaids, one with fins like lionfish spines, another with a bioluminescent glow dimmed by fear. They noticed her, eyes wide the boy with the camera. The ocean was calm again, but Grace's thoughts swirled like a storm. The boy with the camera haunted her mind. He hadn't shouted, hadn't run. He had just watched. His eyes hadn't held greed or fear, only awe. Back in the coral refuge where the hidden tide now rested, rescued mermaids tended their wounds and whispered thanks to Grace. She accepted them quietly, but her mind wandered back to that moment on the deck. What had he seen? What would he do with what he had seen? That night, unable to sleep, Grace slipped away and returned to the surface. She swam until the faint lights of the human town glowed on shore. That's when she saw him, the boy with the camera, alone, sitting on the rocks near the cove, the device clutched in his lap like a burden too heavy to carry. Grace approached slowly, rising from the waves like a vision from a dream. He gasped but didn't flee. "You were there," he whispered. "You saved them." Grace didn't answer at first. Instead, she stared at the camera in his hands. "You filmed it." He nodded. I didn't know what I'd see. I just wanted proof. That mermaids were real. That the stories were true. But they were in cages. And you were fighting for them. That wasn't what I expected." Grace swam closer. "What will you do with it?" The boy hesitated. His name was Elias. He looked down at the camera, then back at her. "I haven't told anyone. If I release it, they'll come hunting you." "Hunting them? I don't want that. I just wanted to believe in something." Her eyes softened. "Then believe, and protect." He blinked. "Protect?" She nodded. "We're not myths. We're not trophies. But the more humans look for us, the more they'll destroy. Keep our secret. That is how you help." Elias looked at her for a long time. Then, without another word, he opened the camera and dropped it into the sea. Grace watched it sink. "You're not like the others," she said quietly. "And neither are you," he replied. She smiled. As the moon rose high, they spoke about the sea and the land, about freedom and fear. By morning, Elias was gone, and Grace returned to the depths. But she wasn't afraid anymore. One human had chosen truth over fame, and that gave her hope.